Hey, Black March Social Club, God bless America. I'm gonna do something different. There's not gonna be a boot on the table yet. I've been talking about trying to do more talking videos. I wanted to talk more. I wanted to visit and hang out a little bit more with you guys. And yesterday I came out here and I was, I had a few boots up here and I was going to do some compare, contrast and stuff like that. And I was just struggling. I was struggling with it. I couldn't get the, battery in the camera to charge. It was, struggling. So I go back inside a little defeated, and last night I get an email or a DM on my Instagram channel, and a guy had reached out, and it gave me an idea. It gave me a chance or an opening. So I want to thank you, James, for giving me something to talk about. And to be perfectly honest, this is more difficult for me than you might realize. I struggle with wanting to be authentic. And if that doesn't make any, that's one of the most important principles to me, is how do I convey authenticity to you guys? And so that's why I struggle so much about coming on here, and especially on YouTube, which is what I want to be more genuine and more real, not so much for the gram, but so I come out here and I wonder, what makes me capable of being able to talk about certain things? What makes me an authority on any particular subject? What makes me worthy of giving my opinion to somebody else, and then having the responsibility of what if they listen to me? So there's going to be a lot of things that I don't want to talk to you about, because I don't want you basing or making decisions off of anything I say, because I am flawed, I am ignorant in some things, and I might not be the best judge of character. So that being said, when he asked me this question in my inbox, it was something I could talk about. It was something I could talk to, and so that gives me a way to open this door. So thank you, James. Why are reviews easier to do than this? It's simple. I can hold a boot, and I almost reached for it. I can hold a boot, and I can just talk about the thing I'm holding in my hands. And that's pretty simple. Anybody can do that. I can talk about the tangible feel of a boot, the way it's constructed, the weight of the leather. It doesn't require much of me in the review. It's just me talking about what I'm holding. But what James asked me requires more. So here goes. James said, and I'll try to be concise with this, but basically he's saying, I had a few questions I was hoping you could answer to help guide me through building my own collection. He had opened the email with saying, hey, I admire your collection of boots, clothes, jeans, the style. I admire that. And I was hoping to ask you a few questions that could help me build one of my own. And I won't give too much information about him, but just know that he says, as I've grown and matured, I've found myself going back to the vintage clothing styles of the blue-collar workwear. It suits my personality and lifestyle the best. The items in your collection, do you have a middle ground, or is that real? Second, how and when did you start building your collection? Was it all at once? Was it from the boots up? And how did you decide on which brands and whatnot you'd be loyal to? So that's the gist of his email. And again, thank you, James, because that I can talk about. If you guys have been watching me for a while, first, a couple of disclaimers. Style is very much a personal choice. It's, to me, and I've thought about ways to explain this 1,000 times. Style is how you put stuff together. It's style is walking through a store and saying that shirt goes with those jeans, and if I wear them this way, whether it's cuffed, whether it's uncuffed, if I wear this tucked and this untucked, this, whatever. Style is how you pull it off. A lot of people just have that naturally. I don't think I do, but, one of the things I've talked about in the past is that when you're growing up, your style is influenced by a lot of things. I mean, your parents. I mean, whoever's paying for your clothes as you're growing up. Whichever stores are available to you. So, and then whatever they pick and put out. Because, when I was growing up, it was A, lack of funds, B, lack of options, and C, lack of willingness. My parents weren't going to drive me all across the United States to buy things, and I don't know that mail order was a thing, back then. I mean, it certainly wasn't available to me. So, it was what you could get at your local department store, your local mall, things like that. But more importantly, it was how much your folks were willing to pay for you. Now, the older you get, and I've said this before, the older you get, the more, you hang on to certain things from the past and you grow into your thing. So he asked me, did I build it from the ground up? Well, you guys know with me, the pretty significant weight loss over the last 18 months. I've been on that journey, really working to drop weight. And when you were as big as I was, at one point in time, 275, 280, and you lose that first 40, 50 pounds, you start having to reach for different sizes. So what I was able to do, and this won't work for everybody, but lean into lean into the intention of what I'm saying, which is whether you have a dramatic weight loss that requires you to go buy a whole new outfit, nothing's stopping you from going and buying a whole new outfit and being deliberate about what you choose. And so that's what I'm talking about here. How did I, with the ability to go out and pick a whole new outfit, and in my case, 2 or 3, variations of that, because I kept, the momentum kept me focused on losing more. And so I've had to step down 3, 4, 5 different times in sizes, but each time it allowed me to be more deliberate about what I replaced and more deliberate about what I chose. So what I told James was, I started with a core piece of kit, a core piece of gear. And for me, that core gear was the jeans, because that is my home base. Home base is where I feel the most comfortable. It's what I would choose if I were self-employed and worked at Jimmy's Garage. It's what I would wear every single day, no question. And for me, core is blue jeans. Now, blue jeans blows the door wide ass open. You can go pick fancy stuff, rugged stuff, carpenter jeans, generic run-of-the-mill Levi's, Lee's. I mean, you can do anything and everything. Selvage denim, and we will, by the way, we will go into all of these things, because what I want to do is at the end of this, I'll tell you what I'm thinking moving forward. But core was jeans, and I had fumbled and played and ordered and bought every make, model, brand, 316, Okayama, Lee's, Levi's, Gustin. Gosh, there's so many. Double RL, the Ralph Lauren signature line, Ironheart. I mean, you name it, I bought jeans. And what I landed on is again, and we can do this in segments, but what I landed on as my most reached for couple of brands is simply Ironheart, Gustin, and Levi's. And that's all 3 price ranges. That's Levi's being, short of you go getting terribly fancy, anybody can go get a pair of 501 Levi's for, sub $50. You can go get a pair of Gustins, which are what I'll call middle ground, which are, better made, more hand-selected denims. You guys have seen, if you've seen any of my shorts, you've seen me in Gustins. And so anyway, Gustins is that middle ground. You can go get those for what I'll say premium jeans for a better quality, but also at a reasonable starter type price. somewhere in the $125, $150 range. Then Iron Hearts, you guys know, you're going to pay $300+ for Iron Hearts. Now, in my response to James, I told him, once you figure out what your Iron Heart fit is, once you figure out what your Iron Heart favorite is, Iron Heart is well worth the money. You wouldn't have caught me saying that 10 years ago because I didn't know better. Today I know better. And the most reached for pair of jeans, I'm wearing them today, my Iron Heart 555 in 21 ounce. So when I say once you know what your fit is, that's what I'm talking about. Know your fit, know your cut of jean, know your measurements, which we've already talked about that a little bit, and know the thickness of the jeans. So for me, 21 ounce, and the way Iron Heart does it is it's a loose weave. So, a lot of people would say, well, that's not a summer jean, or that's not a this, that, and trust me. The way the loose weave in these jeans are, they just break in, they feel more and more comfortable, and they don't feel as warm on as people would try to indicate. But they do feel so thick and so comfortable. So core is my jeans. That's where I started. How do I proceed from there? When I'm building my wardrobe, I started picking, I almost don't want to say tops, but that's usually the way websites call them, shirts, overshirts, things like that. I picked my tops so that they would blend, and because I didn't want to overdo my closet. A lot of times people go out there and buy certain pieces of kit that only goes with something else. So this shirt only goes with khakis. This shirt only goes with this. These flannels only go with denim. I tried to do all of my tops, all of my sweatshirts, sweaters, hoodies, overshirts, flannels, everything I've got, even my dress shirts. I got them so that they matched my core and would work with my core, my home base, which was my jeans. And then I started thinking, okay, now, since I can't wear jeans into an office, what do I need? And that's how I started landing more towards certain types of, like the moleskin denim from Gustin, my brown army selvage denim from Gustin. I'm going to say Gustin a lot, but because they have a different type of pants that you could wear into the office. And then I started leaning towards fatigues and the Orslo fatigues and things like that. Things that could easily go with any of my tops, but also allow me to walk into an office where that's where I must be. Because again, we have casual Fridays and things like that. But again, the closest I can get to my home base is to wear comfortable clothing that I feel good in. And that's how I started kind of getting into that selvage, military, vintage-inspired style. But again, it all works together. And when I go into a weekend or I go into days off, I know that when I put my jeans on, all the tops, no matter what I pick, is going to go with it. Boots, you guys know how I am about boots. That is my weakness. And that's what I told him. I said, boots are all over the place because that is where you start getting into certain levels of overthinking, because certain fits of jeans will not work with, like for instance, I'm thinking of and don't get me wrong, you can go look online and you'll find somebody dressed exactly like I say I would not dress. Pick your poison. I'm really not the expert in this, and I'm just answering to my ability. But personally, there are going to be certain types of skinnier fit, tapered fit stuff that doesn't work with chunky boots. They need to be with more sleek boots. And so then I started, like I said, when it comes to boots, you can play with leathers, you can play with soles, the makeup of it, you can play with the shape of it, because again, more almond-toed, sleeker-toed boots like your Aldens, your 2030s, your original 2030s, your, Grant Stones. A lot of those boots are sleeker and more shaped to certain types of fits. But then you get into your Trumans, and a lot of them are chunkier. Before they started making the 56 last, or the I guess what they call it, the formal last now. You would have to, that's where I would say you have something that goes with something. It's not as interchangeable. as some of the others. You need to be more deliberate about when you put on a certain boot with a certain jean. And jackets are much the same way. I mean, there are certain jackets, again, I'm a big deck jacket, rugged overshirt. I love my blue jean truckers. You do have to be a little specific when you get to a jacket, because a jacket, you put the wrong jacket on. You couldn't put a starter jacket on, if you guys remember the 90s, and wear it into work. But you could probably pull off a classy trucker jacket with the right outfit. And so that's where you do have to be specific. I mean, I wouldn't wear a puffer coat or, one of the big obnoxious type things into an office environment. So that's why, again, on the extremities, on the coats and on the boots, you're just going to have more selection, because there is more of a need to be able to flex. And so that's the core theology, if that makes sense, or philosophy is probably a better word. That's the core philosophy about how I came to my fit or my style. And again, before anybody, I want you guys to call me to task. I want you to jump in the comments, because I am looking forward to this being more, again, I crave authentic connection. And that's where my passion is being able to, I enjoy this stuff. So you guys jump in the comments, ask me questions, we'll talk about it. But which that gives me, that's where I'm leading to. That gives me an opening to say, and I was looking up, because I couldn't remember if it was Pee Wee Herman, Mr. Rogers, and then I Googled it. I remember a mail call section, and that's what I'm going to title this video. It's called Mail Call. I remember a mail call segment on TV. I couldn't remember where it was. So when I Googled it, it was Arlie Ermy on the History Channel, where he would answer people's questions about this, that, and the other. And several of you guys have asked me to show you more about the jackets, show you more about the jeans, show you more about this versus that. Or you've got a specific boot you want compared. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start doing a mail call segment. I'm going to ask you guys to find ways to get a hold of me. If you can't get a hold of me here, you can DM me on Instagram. It's all Black Barn Social Club. Or you can just jump in the comments here. Request certain things. If you've got a question about something I wear, something you've seen, something I've said, all of the above, jump in there. I'll try to pick one a week and we'll do a video. Hopefully it becomes, again, just an opportunity for us to hang out. You guys be blessed. We will talk soon. God bless America, if I didn't say that already.